Welcome, welcome, welcome to Master Force with Mushim Suit. I appreciate you joining me for another session of a conversation with some of our coaches. And today we are talking about back to family. Are you the black sheep? And if you don't know what I mean, stay tuned in because some of us really have had to figure out how to get back to our family. But this is Thankful Thursday, and I am thankful that I have lived long enough to know that it's going to be all right. So let's get started with the female solution.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the female solution.
Yes, yes, yes. This is the female solution. And do I have a solution in the show for you today? We are talking to the wonderful and amazing Teresa Lugo from Puerto Rico. Come on in, Teresa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. It is so good to have you here live and seeing your beautiful face. What's happening over there?
Well, let's see. In paradise, what can be happening, right? Just
Beautiful
loveliness.
weather. All
Yes.
I can think about when I see you is the beaches, the sunlight, the water, the food, the
Yes.
avocado.
It's
Just
amazing.
wonderful. We're going to be having a really lively conversation, kind of a deep dive into what it is to get back to the family. Talking about that black sheep syndrome. That's pretty deep. And both of us have had that experience. But before we get into that, I really want you to share with the people who is Teresa Lugo. I want them to get to know you the way that I know you. So kind of give us a little feedback, a little information
Mm.
about Teresa.
Well, it's interesting because when I wrote my book, one of the things that I decided to do was start to take those labels off. So let me think. It's time to rethink, right?
Yes,
But
yes.
well, who am I? I am a grandma of three beautiful children. I'm a mother of two wonderful children. And I am a Master Force life coach. I got certified in 2012, right after the death of my dad. And I got recertified in 2020 through the pandemic, feeling in my spirit that it was time to gear up and get ready because I didn't know what was going to happen in the world. And I thought a lot of depression and a lot of people would need my services. So I really wanted to um, get certified all over again and just get ready. Um, I also started a nonprofit here called Land and Heart Project in Puerto Rico. And what we do is we assist the farmers in with education, with tools, with finances to help them, especially after hurricanes. They lose a lot of their crops and they don't have the money to.
And
Uh,
we're gonna get
yeah,
into
so
that
we'll get
later.
into
Yeah.
that
So
later.
yeah, because
But
I want to go in depth about that.
yeah, yeah. So, but overall, um, now I am an author. Thanks to
Mhm.
meeting you and encouraging me at the time to go forth. And I am now an entrepreneur for the second time. I'm starting, I have started a hair oil business promoting hair growth for all of us, just from my own experience. So that's what I'm up to now.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I know you're going to share more about your life and everything as we continue. And I want to talk a little bit about just the whole conversation that you and I have had before about that whole black sheep syndrome. I know that people have coined it as a bad thing. But when did you realize that there was something about you that was significantly different from your family?
I think at a very young age, I started realizing, well, first of all, I was number 11 of 12. So if that
11
doesn't
of
make
12.
you, yeah, if that doesn't make you feel like the black sheep in itself, because no one's hearing you. Uh, but I think it was like right at the time that I ended up getting pregnant at a very early age of 17 and having a child. I realized that there was so many people telling me what to do, how to do, and I felt this strength within my own self that had all the answers. I felt that although it was only 17, I felt that I don't need you telling me what to do. I don't need you to tell me how to raise this child. I don't need, because it was like an inner knowing clicked on for me. And from then on, I mean, I just really, my life became, it just catapulted. I became a mom at a very young age. Then I got a job as a secretary. I right away started doing makeup with a makeup artist from Chicago. I just really put myself out there um, and not asking permission. And that really bothered my family. You could see the uncomfortableness of it. Like, well, how do you know? How do you know that person? How do you're not even, a makeup artist, or, well, modeling, you're too short, it was just some comments. And I just started realizing that life is about me. Life is about my inner voice, and I have to trust it. Even though this facade that people saw me as, broken. I remember my brother saying that I effed up my life when he found out I was pregnant. I remember the moment he told me that. We were in his car, and I just looked at him like, you have no idea what I'm about to do in my life. So yeah, it's being a black sheep is really getting to understand that you are chosen to live your life outside of a box, outside of the normal way of doing things in the family, you know, belief system. You
Mhm.
are chosen to break those beliefs and really be okay with that.
It reminds me of a conversation that you and I looked at. Do you remember? It might have been about 5 years ago. We actually went back into our destiny card book,
Hmm.
and we went to see what age, at the age of 17, what was your card? What was your life lessons? Do you remember that conversation?
Ooh, 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 ooh.
It
Were we
was
on the?
so it was so huge for me because that was your at 17.
Oh, right,
You
right, right. I was in Puerto Rico at my mom's house when we had that conversation. Yes.
Yes,
Oof, that
yes,
was deep. Yeah,
yes, and you were a queen of spade that year.
that's deep.
You were a queen of spade. You were coming into your own. And
That is
I
deep.
remember you saying, "Wow, how excited it was to kind of go back and connect that time to a time that you were awakening. Your
Yes,
child came in to awaken you."
yes, yes, yes. It was an amazing experience. Yeah, I remember that. I was, in fact, since then, I always said I want Moo to give a class on how she did that, how you honed in on that, because there was so much more that I wanted to explore. So
Yeah,
let's
that was great.
remember that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So go
yeah,
ahead, keep going. So you're saying that um, the brother told you that, and you said to yourself, "You won't believe what I'm going to do."
yeah.
Now, at that time, what was on your mind? What did you think you were about to do at that time?
I actually I had to fight my way out of my mom's house at the time because my mom had so many children that when I had my daughter, I was living in the house, so she actually decided to own my daughter also. And she was telling me what I had to do and can't do. And I really knew and then that I really needed to get out there on my own. And I believe at 18, I ended up getting my own apartment. And then at 19, I got a car. Um, and then at 20, I really started to, and I think my daughter at the time was 6. Stephanie Marie, were you 6? You were getting close to 6. My daughter loved to sing and dance. I don't know, as she was watching TV. So I started to see something in her, and I ended up getting her involved in modeling at a very young age. She was doing commercials, etc. And they would say, "Hey, how about you join in on the pictures?" And I'm like, "No, no, no." They're like, "Come on, come on." So that avenue opened up for me. And when that avenue opened up for me, then I started seeing more stuff because I started meeting makeup artists. I started meeting photographers. So I said, "Hey, my name is Teresa Lugo. I would love to assist you. You don't have to pay me. I just want to learn how to do makeup, and I'll be there at 8 a.m., etc. And any photo shoot you might have. And that's how I started meeting the social life of Chicago, by just being present to, it's not always about money, it's about experience. And at that very young age, I got that. And I just started to just run with that. And then I remember even selling eel skin purses. I used to fly them in from China. I don't even know where I got all that energy, but I do know where I got it. It was already there. So yeah, it's something that I learned. And I, right now, as a woman of, whatever age I am today, I have to reach for that energy sometimes because I forget that girl. I forget that energy. I forget who I was and who I am, because
Yes.
life takes you through so many curves, and your mind
And
is
I
not
think that's
this
why we're here
fresh.
too. I think that's why we're here, to remind each other,
Yes.
to
Yes.
help us remember,
Exactly.
and then so you were doing all of that even before you decided to open your stores. So
Oh
you
yeah.
had this fashion. So tell us about that episode. What had you think that at such a young age that you could, be an entrepreneur in Oak Park of all places?
I know,
Oak
right?
Park, Illinois.
Homogenized area. So, well, wow. So I ended up working for corporate America in marketing and public relations at a very young age. I worked for Harris Bank. I mean, I just started to just realize that I had a rent to pay, I had a car to pay, I had babies. I mean, I had so many responsibilities at such a young age as a single mom, too. I had no help from the father. But at 29, as I was working for the relations firm, I realized that they were not going to promote me, which they told me flat out, because I didn't have a degree in public relations. And I was like, well, that's interesting. I've been doing all this work and you never asked for a degree, but now I'm training college girls that are coming in, don't know nothing, but they got the degree. Something ain't right. So I started to realize that I needed again to repave my way and figure out, you know, how do I do this next step? And I remember talking to my mom and I said, Mom, look at these shoes. And at the time I love designer, girl. I love designer for the quality, not the name, because I'm not a big name person. But I told my mom, look at these shoes. And it were a pair of Gucci shoes, gorgeous, very antique, patent leather, gorgeousness. And I said, Mom, she said, I love them. And I'm like, Mom, guess how much they are? She goes, oh, about $70. And I'm like, how about 1,200, 1,400? Like, okay, are you crazy? You know, she sounded like a rooster, you know. And I said, Mom, it's designer. These are real people in the world making, designing clothes, and they're fabulous. They're made with good quality and all this other story. And I said, I want to open my own store. And she says, you do? And I'm like, yeah, I think I can do it. She said, well, do it. What do you need? I told her, I don't know yet. She said, whatever you need, you tell me, I'll help you with half. And I'm like, really? Now, that was a pivotal moment because my mom and I were not really good friends growing up. She was very hard on me. So I was surprised that she said, yes, whatever you need. So together, we put our money together, and boom, I opened my first store at 29, no, about 30. I think I was 30 at that time. Um, and it was a consignment boutique where the women would bring me all their high end designer clothes. So that was wonderful. I didn't have to shop for anything. People were just coming through the door. Didn't really work out that way because it was in a very white area and they were not nice to me. They just didn't like me there. It was weird. I never experienced racism until that moment. Really, it was weird. But thank God, about 2 years later, I was able to find another location not too far in Oak Park, and the doors just flew open. It was the best decision I made. And then I opened a second store probably about 6 years later called Estilo, which was a not high end, it was a LA fashion store. And I had to get on a plane for the first time by myself. I remember getting to the hotel and looking at that Bible in the drawer, and I pulled it out and like, okay, Lord, help me, teach me, show me how to buy clothes. I didn't know how to buy clothes. I didn't even know where to go. I just knew that in my research, LA was like the best place to find really cool, funky clothes. So that's how I ended up in with my second store, and it was just amazing how those doors opened up. I had people come in and volunteer to help me build it out, and I mean, I write about it in my book about how God just started opening doors, and I realized, you know what? I'm already tearing about it because they were so wonderful. But as you go forth in life, as you take those scary steps, God always opens doors. I mean, things happen. People come, people are there, people are saying something, even the bank wouldn't even give me money. And I remember like I had put away some money, I think like $4,000, like 10 years earlier, in some investments. And I called my investment banker, and I said, hey, you know what? I really need to pull that money out. Could you tell me how much I have? Do you know that guy told me that I had $30,000 from 4,000?
Wow.
And I was, could you double check again? My name is Teresa Lugo, and I'm calling about my money,
Look, look closely.
And he's like, yeah, I know who you are. I'm telling you.
Wow, that's
And so I was
beautiful.
able to open my second store, girl. I tell you, it was all in divine order.
Now, you know that
Move.
I love that. I love that. And what I want to frame this inside of, I want to frame this inside of the conversation. Are you the black sheep? So I don't think that you knew that you were the black sheep yet. Did you know yet that you were the black sheep of the family?
No, no, because they kept saying that my brother was. So I already had him pegged. We always, we peg our family members.
Yeah. Yes. 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 So now what had you get to the point? Well, before that, this here's the question. We actually talk in Master Force, right? That you choose your parents
Right. Before you come on this earth. Right
before
on.
you come on this earth.
And you
Now,
both agreed to it.
yet we agree to it. We actually want to do this soul work. We just forget,
Soul
right?
contract.
Yes. So, do you actually see the lessons? Because you mentioned that you and your mother didn't have a good relationship. You had challenges with the siblings, being that you were the number 11. I can't imagine having a dozen children and two parents the whole time. And your father was the only one working, right? Your father the
That's
only.
Yes. Initially, my mom worked in a factory, but my dad told her, no, you need to stay home, take care of the babies and cook. And she loved it. So, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So now, when you look at you chose your parents, why did you choose those parents, Teresa?
My dad, because he was a charlatan. My dad he was the most amazing person I ever met. So,
Mm,
yeah, he was so wonderful with everyone. He spoke to the homeless guy like he spoke to the president, like he spoke to anyone and everyone. He was a giver. My dad was a philanthropist. My dad was kind. My dad helped the homeless. My dad, he would bring them to our house and feed them. My dad was amazing. Um, and he taught me to ignore a lot of things. Did not like something that was said, he would be like, "You're full of hot pepper. You're full of hot pepper." He walked away. And I thought, dang, that's so cool. And you know what? My whole family knows that about my dad. You full of hot pepper. You full of hot pepper. I don't even know why he said it like that, because it was like so slang the way he said it, but I think it's because it's a Spanish accent. But anyways, my mom, because she was terror. My mom was badass. You understand? My mom did not believe in the end. And when somebody said no, she said, yes, we got this. How do we do it? My mom was also a giver. My mom was a faith-filled woman. She loved God, as well as my dad. My dad loved Jesus, and my mom was, very religious. I didn't like that side of her as much because she took it to another level. But my dad's way of handling it, I was able to balance it out, a little bit more, to understand that, God is in me and not out there in this building that she would go to. But anyways, I think that my mom had tenacity that was out of this world. She was amazing. My mom was amazing. And her whole family looked up to her. Her whole family, she would get money, and right away she would help my uncles and aunts, get their teeth done. Or she was just a giver of her to her family. She gave.
Wow.
And that to me was like, I want to be that. I want to be a giver.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom wasn't one of those kiss ass or givers, right? We have those two, that to give, I receive, so let me give, right? My mom and dad both were just givers. And you could see the happiness in that action. And I love that about them. So I think that's why I picked both of them.
That's beautiful. I want to read some of the comments that we have, Teresa. But
Oh,
while I'm reading the comments, I do want to have the conversation about how you and I met, because we say that your father brought us together.
yeah.
So we'll talk about that. Let me read some of the comments.
Thank you. Whew.
Let's see. So Lawrence Lenore says, old school dads.
Yes.
Absolutely. The female solution says that Asada has a chapter in her first book telling parents, you get chosen. Absolutely. Also, we have, oh, wait a minute. Where did my note? There we go. We have Shani, who says, this is exceptional, ladies. Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
thank you.
And then Ernest says, my two most beautiful people in my world. Oh, we
Big
love
Papa.
Ernest so
We
much.
love
We
you.
love Ernest, don't we? Absolutely. So now, Teresa, do you remember how we met? Do you remember that conversation?
Girl. Yeah, I am actually sitting here and I'm appreciating the fact that you were able to read some comments so that I can get my strength back up, because when you said those words, I turned it to mush.
Oh,
Because it was such a trying time of my life. My dad just died, and I was like lost.
mm-hmm. It's okay. Come a long way since then.
And every time I talk about it, I always go there. It's like, girl, okay, okay. But you know what? That's beautiful. That's where emotions are, and it makes us human. So that's a good thing. But
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
I remember, like,
Tissue time, my love. Tissue
yes,
time. Where's the tissue?
I remember when you spoke about something on Facebook, and I loved it. I was like, this
We were
lady.
we were doing an ignite your soul connection,
That's right.
and I think you
Which
called in. Mm-hmm.
That's correct. And that, but I got it out of Facebook and I said, I want to talk to this lady because I know whatever she's talking about, I need to know. I need to know
Mm.
because, yeah, where I was a bad place. So I couldn't figure out which way to turn, but I knew that what I was experiencing was very spiritual. So it wasn't a mind thing. I need to talk to a therapist. I need to talk to my sisters. In fact, when I did talk to my sister, because I felt so lost, she said, well, call, your therapist and talk it out. I'm sure she can help you. And I know she can help you. And I'm like, you don't understand. It's not like I need to know something. I feel something. Like I feel like my heart has been ripped out of my chest. So thankfully you and I met. I remember I was leaving my house to meet you. And my spirit said, go back in the house and bring her something because she's a queen. And I'm like, now what the heck is he? What? Because I didn't even understand what a queen was other than what I saw on TV in London. so so that was really strange. So I did. I went back in the house, and sure enough, because I owned a store, I was able to pick a couple of things that I did have, and I said, I'm gonna bring this because that stuck out for me. It was a scarf. So I bought you a scarf, and I am so grateful and thankful that I met you at that time because I was going through an spiritual experience, and there is nobody that I could have talked to that would have explained it the way you did. I think we spent 2 or 3 hours, maybe more. When I
Mhm.
heard what you said, I said, yes. I related to every word that came out of your mouth, and I am so grateful.
I
So
I
grateful.
I remember that call so well, and I just said to you, "Come see me." I said, I said, "Come see me. We need to talk." And I even in our conversation in my living room, your father was there. You remember?
Oh,
Yeah, you
yeah.
remember me saying that? Yeah, and it was just such a wonderful story that you shared about your father.
Yeah.
And I love that I actually ritualize everything because life is spiritual. Like today, I'm wearing leopard because my sister's name is Teresa, and I wanted her here, and she's on the other side, and I just wanted her to be here with us and just to honor the sister love that we share. And part of our work is to learn how to see spirit in everything,
it's
everything.
it's life.
Yes.
It's life. They don't teach you that. They don't. The
Yeah.
Catholics teach you that when you die, you go into a holding place, and then when Jesus comes back, he rises up everybody, and at that time, some stay, some go. I don't even know anymore. I'm so grateful that I don't know anymore because they're with you. They're with you. They're with you now more than ever. Like I feel my mom a lot. I feel my mom a lot, girl. I see my mom when I look in the mirror. When I look in the
Yeah.
mirror, I hear my dad when I'm cracking jokes. I love to crack jokes. I know you know that. I
Yes.
love to live lightheartedly when I'm out there in the world. But when I'm in my house, girl, it gets heavy. It gets heavy because I'm a very, deep person inside. So I work on that balance, but I also accept that side of me because it helps me to grow more. Because I know spirit is wanting me to open up to more knowledge. And sometimes that knowledge is yeah, a little bit weird. And then I'm like, do you really want to go there? I'm like, yeah, I do.
Yeah. And
I
and
do.
I was thinking too, and we'll go deeper into this conversation after we take a commercial break. So I want you to think about this. I remember when you had your first dark night of the soul. And I think that is when you really started looking at, I my life has to be more spiritual than what it is religious. And so I want you to think about that conversation, kind of, kind of block it in your mind, because we're going to talk about that. It's really one of the premises for us moving into our own healing, is for
Mhm.
us to actually discover that, wait a minute, this life that's happening is not what I would create for myself. And how do
Mhm.
I get to myself? Okay, so let's are you up for that conversation?
I think I am.
Okay, well, we'll come right back to it. Okay, let's listen to this first. Wonderful. Where'd you go, Teresa? I know she had to go and get herself together. You are listening to Master Force, and we're having a wonderful conversation with Teresa Lugo. And we've been talking about what it is to get back to our family. And if you are the black sheep in the family, you may have experienced some dark times, feeling ostracized, not being supported, feeling like there's something wrong with you, when actually you're here to make a difference in the family. So you're distinctly different from everyone else. You just, and no sense in you trying to make yourself fit in, because that's not what you're here to do. Okay. So now, Teresa, let's look at this conversation about the dark night of the soul. Do you recall what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure, but if you could tell me one word or two words, I got it.
It was when you realized that you were going to sell your house in Oak Park.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah.
You see how far you've come? You don't even remember your transitions, your initiations.
You
That was a
know,
huge initiation for you. Absolutely.
what's really interesting? I had Dark Night of the Soul. I my spirit went all the way down to when I got pregnant.
Oh, that
That
was
was
your initiation, yeah.
that
But
was yeah,
yeah,
okay.
I
That's
think that
why.
was an initiation, because
Yeah.
the difference between an initiation and a dark night of the soul is that at that time you weren't questioning other people. You were trying to prove your right to exist.
Mm,
When you get to the dark night of the soul, it's like nothing makes sense, and you're questioning everything, and you're trying to figure out, why is it like this? And I know that there's something better, but in an initiation, you're really just observing and going through a process more than what you are. Dark night of the soul can be kind of it can be heart wrenching.
it is. It
Hmm.
is. Boy, is it. Yeah. I through that process after my dad died, everything that I had started being stripped from me. I had to attend my own funeral.
Mm,
That's deep.
yes.
Deep. You have to attend your own funeral. What does that mean, right? People are like, what is she talking about? She's still sitting there, right? It's the old self. It's because I was a business owner. I was, I had my stores. I was a big socialite, philanthropist. I had so many labels that I didn't even have to think about that old lady, old person. I had to think about this new person that I didn't even know. Like, I didn't know who I was. My spirit, who? No, I knew me as, a business owner, had money, had things, had designer stuff, had do, boom, 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 all the things and the labels. How do people see me? All of those things, right? I was stripped of all of that. So to start losing everything I had and have 11 brothers and sisters that not one of them came to my door to say, what's wrong? Let's make an intervention here. Let's find out how we can help you. You're losing your home. Come on. My family members, some of them had students that they would take in that was helping them pay their mortgage, which was wonderful for them. And it was a great experience. But not one of them ever said, hey, let's get you a student. Let's help you pay this rent. Because I was in a very stuck place. So I basically had to get through this time by the grace of God, by the strength of God, by prayer. The first year I started like watching TV every day, all the time. That TV was on all that time. And then finally I said, you know what? This ain't working for me, And then after that, it was more like getting to hear quietness, like, what does that sound like? Just to be quiet. I still do it, girl. Sometimes I have to be like, okay, girl, put some music on or something. I had to talk myself into, because I love quiet. I ain't gonna lie, I love it. But that time it was very eerie, very eerie. So that's part of dying to the old self. It's the things that you're so used to having, you don't have anymore. And all you have is yourself. And it's like, people are judging me. People are judging me. All that going on in my head. People are judging me. I don't have the money anymore. I can't go out to those fine dinners. I can't do this. I can't do that. Blah, blah, blah. But the journey that I was taking was gold. It was gold. Like, you can't put a price on that. But when you go through it, you don't see it, right? You don't see it. You're in such anguish and turmoil. I'm actually travailing in a sense.
Mm. Mm.
That's the deeper part of it. I was this close to suicide.
Wow.
This close.
Yeah.
But I knew that wasn't going to work because I had a daughter and I had a life and I trusted God. So I didn't go there, but I got to feel it.
Yes.
And that scared me. But again, I held on to God. Okay, Lord, show me. He was like my parachute.
And that's right. Absolutely. And Teresa, talk about how our children become our teachers, because it is, that has been my life too. My children saved my life. I would not be who I am if it were not for me making decisions to make my children's life better. And in making my children's life better, my life, of course, improved. So talk about, the conversation, how children are our teachers and the importance of honoring that. But before you do, I want you to hear what Zelda says. She says, enjoying the show from Indiana. Thanks for sharing your story of resilience. Awesome.
Oh, thank
Thanks,
you.
Zelda. Yes, yes.
What was the question?
Your children are your teachers. How
So, like, because I mean, my mind went into like, because one of the things that came up for me is my son was 16. So as I'm going through all of this, first of all, he's the one that woke me up to the stupor of 4 days of not brushing my teeth and not changing my clothes. He woke me up to it. He said, Mom, do you know you still have the same clothes on that you've had for 4 days? I said, what are you talking about? He goes, so that woke me up because, again, I was suffering. Didn't know that I wasn't physically moving. I was stuck. So when he said that, I started to think, okay. But my son also, because of what I was going through, he started to feel my pain.
Mm.
So what he did was he started kind of messing up in school. And so I said, hey, we need to do something. It's not okay for you. We got to get it together. Mom is not well right now, but you got to stay strong. So he tells me that he needs to see a psychiatrist. Mom, I
Mm.
need help. I said, oh, really? Okay. Girl, I got on that computer, found him somebody, took him straight there. And little did I know, 2 or 3 days later, he was like, Mom, could you come in with us? And I'm like, sure. I thought, well, that was nice. He's inviting me into this session with him. Well, no, actually, that was for me. It was like he was trying to say, Mom, you need help.
Mm.
Um, but And because of that, I got some really great healing work done because I was able to talk it through. I started to see the connection that I had with my dad.
Mm.
Girl, I didn't know that connection that I had with my dad was so intense. I never knew that. What
Mm-hmm.
I understood was that he's the only one that I felt hurt when I looked in his eyes and he heard that I was pregnant. I saw the pain in his eyes, and that hurt me so deeply that I think that in that moment I realized that everything I did after that was to prove to my dad that I wasn't that filthy little girl or whatever that ugliness that was in his eyes. It was something about it. So that helped me um, to release dad in that way. I was able to release my dad, but my son continued after that to open doors of revelations to me. Even in his school, he was being treated a certain way because of his skin color. And I ignored him. I said, I don't want to hear that. You go to school and stay, get it together, because that's the way my parents spoke to me. But one day, Spirit said, I need you to show up in his school. And I'm like, what? And okay. So I go to his school, and they were like, oh, hi, Miss Lugo. Yeah, you have to make an appointment. And I'm like, no, I'm here now. I like to be able to see where my son is in this moment. So they took me to the class finally. And what I saw was unacceptable. Unacceptable. They had my son in a class that was loud. Everybody was screaming. And the teacher's like, everybody sit down. And he was in an all black class. And it's an all white school almost. Go figure.
Mm-hmm.
And the white teacher is trying to get everybody to sit down. And I'm like, what's going on here? I was shocked. I was shocked. And I finally woke up to what my son was trying to tell me. I was in denial of the words that were coming out of his mouth. I wanted to just like, girl, the next day, I said, I'm so sorry. I had to apologize because I didn't believe him. But he was like, it's okay, Mom, it's okay. And I was like, no, it's not. It's not okay that I did not believe you. And I stood for him after that. I really got like, I was so oblivious to racism. We weren't raised racist. My dad, we were always around different races, white, black, Chinese. And I made sure that my children had the same experience. They went to all magnet school.
But didn't you all grow up in Cabrini Green?
Girl, yes, honey. Go on and say it. Yes.
I
I
love the
was
stories about your mother.
I can't believe you brought that up. Right on. Yes. They were like what, Irish, Polish, Puerto Ricans, Mexican. We were all in one building. Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The project, exactly. The project and how they to keep us all together. But that was really cool.
That's
But
wonderful.
yeah, yeah.
And
So
so
I'm
his
I'm
healing,
grateful.
yes, his
And
healing,
my
you paying attention to him made you realize what was happening in the world.
And I think that after that, I'll be honest with you, I have been the type of person that has opened my ears to people, even though they hurt me or said something out of line. Because, mm, listen, not everybody's here to those people that are here to teach you a lesson or give you a nugget are not going to be favorable in your eyes. You
Mhm.
understand? Like there are people that you'd be like, no, I don't believe she said that. I'm done with her. Well, I tell you, I've learned that lesson at that time and has really brought me to a well rounded woman today because I really get the importance of listening to others and not really owning it. You know, like, I can't believe she said that. Oh, I can't believe she's with Trump. I can't believe she's with the da da da. I can't believe this. I can't believe that. I can't. It's like, yo, let people be who they are and allow them to teach you something. Maybe the message came through that person. And because you judge them, you miss the message. You miss the message. God will give messages to people to give you. And sometimes it's even a homeless person and you ignored them. So you
Yeah.
have to be present at all times. Doesn't mean, Jesus hung out with the prostitutes and the liars and the murderers. And he didn't own it. He just let it be, let people be who they are. And I think that's a lesson for all of us, like even in your family, how many of us ignore our family? We don't talk to our mother. We don't talk to our sister. We don't talk to our brother. But you
Mm.
chose them before you came on this earth. Why? Why aren't you just being okay with allowing them to be who they are?
Yeah.
Incomplete, just like you.
Yeah.
Have you looked in the mirror lately? We're all
Mm.
incomplete, you know. Um, and again, with the family dynamics, they look at you like me. I'm the youngest, so I'm. It took me years to get respect, even though. And this is interesting because they respected me more when I had my businesses.
It's
Check this.
because we actually have created a paradigm in our society that says if you don't have money, you are poor. And that's not true. Money does not make you rich. Okay. I know some rich people who are extremely poor. Okay. I have some clients that have millions of dollars and they are broken and don't even know how to connect to other people. And that's what
Yes.
I consider to be poor. Hold on, let me
Yes.
see what we
Beautiful.
have here. This is oh wait a minute, I've just been given a okay. Bridget says what you are saying right now is so powerful. Is this age of polarization? We don't know how to dialogue anymore. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why we wanted to have this conversation, Bridget. We wanted to actually talk about getting back to our families because the communication has been so distorted based on judgments and based on how society has told us to operate when we need to listen to our soul. Okay. So here's another comment. All praises to letting people be who they are. This should be repeated by everyone daily. Love. Yes, absolutely. Let people be who they are. And then enjoying the show. Oh, I read that one. I read that one from Zelda already. Yes, thank you. Now, Teresa, you did a lot of personal healing, and I remember in 2014 when we went to Puerto Rico, you said, Moot, will you come to Puerto Rico with me and help me write this book? And I said, Puerto Rico? I spent 4 weeks in Puerto Rico with you writing this beautiful book. And it was just such an amazing time. It was just such a beautiful opportunity, not just to be in all that. We went to a different beach every day. That's a whole nother show. But go ahead and tell us the development of this story, The Homeless Mind.
Wow. So, part of going through grief is being brain broken. Not only are you heartbroken, but your brain has gone into some kind of abyss. You start getting brain fog, you lose yourself. That's part of it, right? We lose ourselves. We have lack of sleep. We have depression. Um, our hormones are off. Everything is off. So, in that process, I really started asking God, what is it? What is it? And as I started moving forward, I remember walking my dog. And when I was walking my dog was when I heard homeless mind. And I audibly, like someone said it to me, and I'm like, what? What's that? And the next thing I heard was, that's the book you're going to write. And I'm like, what book? I'm not a writer. And the next thing I hear is, you're going to start it in Puerto Rico and you're going to end it in Puerto Rico. I swear, this is the life that I was living. I was hearing things. But I knew it was God and Spirit was speaking to me, because I was very ready at that time. You understand? I was in tune with myself. I had spent years at that point with myself, with no noise around me. So Spirit started speaking to me. So it said, start journaling. And to be honest with you, I didn't start journaling. I knew that this journey was going to take me down some road, and I was so ready for it. And I was going to be able to register everything in my spirit that I needed to write. And when I approached you about it, I said, I needed you to come with me because I wanted to tap into your energy. I was so lucky to know you, first of all, but I adored your spirit, and I wanted to be that, like I wanted to have that spirit, whatever that is. I didn't know what it was. So when you said yes, I thought that was amazing. And the most amazing thing was, it was actually your mother's birthday that we flew out. So to be with you in Puerto Rico and watching you write, because you're writing your book, you're taking advantage of your time there. But I noticed that you also were eating differently.
Mm-hmm.
So as you were writing, I'm walking around the house thinking, okay, what should I write? What should I write? You're like, hey, why don't you just sit down and think about eating fresh daily? You can have some of this hummus. You can have some of this lentil taco. And I'm like, lentil taco? I don't want none of that. Give me some meat. But I tell you, that really woke me up to, and then you taught me meditation. That's breathe from your belly.
Mm-hmm.
Like this morning when I woke up, it was like everything was in my head about today. Oh my gosh. And I thought, let it go, girl, because I've learned that no matter how prepared you are for an interview, it's never the things that you wrote down. It flows the way it's going to flow. So, you
Absolutely.
know, Mood, I'm just grateful that you taught me that. And, that's how I teach. I had somebody reach out to me about writing a book, and she became aggressive because she sent me how she wanted me to teach her. And, yeah, it was really interesting. She sent me a really nasty text, like, I can't believe, that's not how this works, right? When you write from the spirit. If you can't go from the spirit when you're writing, then you are just writing. You're AI. You're
Yeah, it's
AI.
inside it's inside of the left brain, where creativity lives is in the right brain. And most people
Exactly.
don't tap into that.
Yeah.
That
So
yes.
that
So
really helped me. Thank you for that. I just want to say though, because of the way you taught me how to eat, I also learned that fasting, which is like putting away foods that have personalities, that's meats and all that stuff, processed food, it gets in the way
yes.
of your growth and your spiritual journey. So grateful, just really grateful for that. Thank you. Really.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And Teresa, I want to talk a little bit more, about what you're doing now. You're doing your hair products.
Yeah.
Yes, you're doing your hair products. Talk a little bit about your products. This says Teresa, she has some great products.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I love it, girl. That's another download. I listen, I love helping people. I love my nonprofit. I love coaching. And at the same time, I said, I started talking to God. I said, look, you gave it to Facebook, you gave it to Instagram, you gave it to the lady with Spanx. Give it to me. Give me something that's multi-million-dollar idea, that I can use, because first of all, I got to love what I do. So it's not just, me creating something to sell it, because I don't run after money. But I do believe that I wanted to have something that's a blessing to others, as well as be able to raise a lot of money and be able to help my farmers. So sometimes, having a nonprofit doing, out there raising money and all that, it gets tiring. It
Mm-hmm.
gets tiring. So I'd rather have all those millions and be the one that says I gave 10 million to my farmers. I want to be that person. I think that that's something that I feel comfortable with. So in that process, God used my neighbor who had just moved into the area to come and say, hey, I want to get involved. I do crafts, and do you know where I could sell them? And I said, absolutely, I can show you this art walk. And then she was like, well, what do you have? What can you sell? I'm like, I don't have anything. And then all of a sudden I thought about my hair oil. I do make my own hair oil, I told her. And she goes, yeah, tell me more. I said, well, I started losing my hair, and, I started doing research, and I found these oils to come together very well. And I got all my hair back. And so she was like, well, then let's go get it together. And so I think in a matter of 2 weeks, I got it together and I started selling my oil. And it's been a blessing. I've sold over almost 300 bottles since November. So, and that's just by speaking about it online and letting people know the importance of caring for your follicles. Forget your hair. This is just, we're lucky to have this. But your actual follicles, that's, we put so much gook in our hair and gels and hairspray, and, we color it, we do so much damage to our follicles. And then we wonder why we're losing our hair, so, I just, so God really started to, so I really had this formula working for me. And I started making it from friends, but nobody would use it, because I'd be like, so how was it? And they're like, oh, girl, I still have it on the shelf. And I said, no, I ain't doing that no more, because it's not just me sitting down and putting oils together. It's me, you know, it's a process. I bring them together, and I use my fresh rosemary from my garden, and I process that in for an hour, and then I put it away, and then I give it love, and then when I bottle it, I'm like, I pray over it, and I said, Lord, use me in this moment, whoever's in need of this oil. So that's how healthy hair oil came. And then after that, I was like, the name. I need a name. What should I name it? And my girlfriend that I had the pleasure of meeting in my 20s, she used to call me Lady T. Hey, Lady T, what's up? How you doing? Hey, Lady T. And I still to this day go to Chicago, and she's my girl. I call her Charlotte May. And it just stuck for me. And I think I put it out there on Facebook, because I
But
kept people involved.
let's play this video, because we're down to the last couple of minutes. Let's play this
No.
video so
Okay.
they can get a look at it. Yeah, I know it
Okay.
goes fast, doesn't
Yeah, I
it?
know. Too fast.
Oh, it's not gonna play for me.
Every night, take a moment to care for your hair. Just a few drops on your fingertips. Massage gently into your scalp and ends. Let nature do the rest. Our handcrafted hair oil blends 7 organic oils: coconut, jojoba, castor, Jamaican black seed, peppermint, batana, and tea tree. Infused with fresh rosemary from our garden in Puerto Rico and aromatic cloves.
That is absolutely beautiful, Teresa. Now, where can they find Lady T's oils?
So the website is called ladyteaspureoils.com, and you can order it on there. Or if you're in Puerto Rico, I sell it at the Rincon Art Walk every Thursday, and you're welcome to stop in anytime. I do ship all over the world, so please feel free. I just sent some about 6 months ago to Jamaica, and I thought about them most recently of what's happening. But yeah, I'm excited. I just had a testimony from someone that experienced alopecia in their lives for many years and started using my oil and has seen a fuzz, a difference. Their hair is coming out, and I'm like, what? So
someone said spell the website, and we're at 9:00, so spell that website, and we're going to wrap it up.
It's LADYTS pure PUROILS.com. Lady T's Pure Oils.
All right. And we'll figure out, you guys can check my Facebook page. We'll find it. So Teresa, thank you so much.
You're welcome so much.
You were so wonderful. I just want to read a few more of these comments because they were just absolutely wonderful. People were saying that you have support in the audience. We're with you. And Naima says, can I order a bottle of that? And then Lauren Slade said, I love my healthy hair oil. So we have everybody actually for paying attention and being with us. I hope you'll come back again. I know that you're working on another book. And when I visit Puerto Rico, maybe we'll do a show from there. But thank you so much for being here. And
definitely. And I want to add, for anyone that would like to have my book, please feel free to check it out on Amazon. I used to have it on my website, but the website is down now because I'm working on my hair oils, and I'll eventually have it on there. But please go ahead and go to Amazon and feel free to order one. I also sometimes send it from Puerto Rico, where I sign my name and do more personal book signing for you. So feel free to reach out, and I'll be happy to send it from here.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us. We have a wonderful, wonderful show for you next week where we're going to talk about the true principles of wealth. All right. See you next week. Thank you.
Bye. Love you. Blessings to all.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.